Hello, this is Mrs. Mack, a third grade teacher at Lafayette Upper Elementary School. Go Lions! Today we are learning about the distributive property. The distributive property of multiplication is when you break up one of your factors to make it easier to multiply. We are going to start off with 3 times 4. To the left, you will see an array for 3 times 4. In the next slide, I'm going to show you how I am going to break up the factor of 4. I am going to break up the factor of 4 with 2 plus 2 because 2 plus 2 is going to equal 4. You will also notice in the next slide that I did not break up the number 3 and that you will see the number 3. So this is how I broke up my array. 3 times 2 by 3 times 2. And down here at the bottom is how I would write the distributive property. If I were to multiply 3 times 4 together, I would get 12. If I were to get an answer for the distributive property, I would also get 12. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 2 is 6. If I add 6 plus 6, I would get 12. Notice when I look at the distributive property, if I were to add 2 plus 2, I would get 4, which was one of the factors in my multiplication problem of 3 times 4. Notice I did not break up the 3. That is why the 3 is still part of my distributive property. Distributive property is when you only break up one of the factors. Now let's look at 7 times 6. I have my array to the left of 7 times 6. You will notice in this picture of two arrays, I have not broken up my 7. I have chosen to break up my 6 as 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3 would get me the factor of 6. Notice once more, I still have the factor of 7. I did not break up the factor of 7. So if I were to turn this into my distributive property, I would have 7 times 3 plus 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 3 is 21. 21 plus 21 is 42, which is exactly the product of 7 times 6. Okay, now I'm going to break up 7 times 6 a different way. On this example, I am breaking up the 7 into 5 and 2 because 5 plus 2 is 7. Notice I did not break up my 6. That is why you see the 6 in both arrays. If I were to write this as the distributive property, I would have 5 times 6 plus 2 times 6. Notice the 5 plus the 2 would get me 7, which was the first factor in 7 times 6. I broke up the 7. I did not break up the 6. 5 times 6 is 30. 2 times 6 is 12. 30 plus 12 is 42. I have broken up 7 times 6 a different way. Notice I did not break up the 7. That is why you see the 7s in both of these problems because I did not break up that factor. Instead, I broke the factor of 6 into 4 and 2 because 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, so I broke this up into 7 times 4 and 7 times 2. This is the distributive property. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14. If I were to add 28 and 14, I would get 42. Okay, in this example, I broke up the factor of 7 because 1 plus 6 is 7. Notice I did not break up the factor of 6. That is why both the second numbers are a 6 because I did not break up the 6. I broke up the 7 into 6 and 1. As I write this as the distributive property, I have 6 times 6 is 36. 1 times 6 is 6. 36 plus 6 is 42. Notice if I add 6 plus 1, I get that factor of 7. Now we're going to look at 3 times 8. I want to know which one of these is written correctly as 3 times 8 using the distributive property. So there's a couple ways you can filter through these, okay? I see a 3 and a 3. That means the 3 was not broken up, and in this example of the distributive property, the 8 was broken up. But if I look at 1 and 2, 1 plus 2 is not 8. So that is not the correct distributive property. As I look at the second one, I see that 4 was the factor that stayed the same, but there is no 4 in this problem, so that can't be the right one. Okay, as I look at the third one, I see that the 3 has remained unbroken and that they have broken up the 8 into 6 and 2. 6 plus 2 would be 8. This is the correct way to write the distributive property for 3 times 8.